Hello everyone. Welcome back to the new season, to the new year, a new session of LSB Social Talks, this incredible, unbelievable event, which I'm sure you all were missing. Today we start with an incredible talk by the pasta expert Luke. I mean, he can probably speak for himself about pasta. You're going to be entangled by this talk, surely. Well, enjoy.
Thanks for oh no.
Amazing stuff.
There you go. Thanks for your Thank you, Enrique. Yes, today we're going to be talking about pasta. A brilliant food. We all love it. These are some of the faces it elicits. The meat curing guy, actually, from Adriano. He also dabbles in pasta. It pervades our culture. Garfield famously loved lasagna. Eminem, his palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy, there's vomit on his sweater already. Mum's spaghetti. Pasta is everywhere, and we all love it. There's even a religion, Pastafarianism, which I believe Adriano is a member of.
Of course.
What is pasta other than the giant spaghetti monster in the sky? It is a type of food typically made from an unleavened dough of wheat flour mixed with water or eggs and formed into sheets or other shapes when cooked by boiling or baking. This is a broad definition and it could include many things, and the biologist J.B.S. Haldane said that if God had created all living organisms on Earth, then he must have an inordinate fondness for pasta. And indeed, we can see penne. Even noodles, I would contend, are pasta. We have our kaplash, which is a kind of filled dumpling, and couscous, which I'm going to say started it all, is the progenitor of pasta. Now let me take you on a journey from couscous. Pasta, how did it begin? Not created, like some would have you believe, by the giant spaghetti monster, but it has a deep evolutionary history. So let's go through the pasta culinogeography. So we start with couscous over in North Africa. This is the early origins of pasta many thousands of years ago. And then out of Africa we see a migration to the Middle East. The form doesn't really change too much during this time. We start to see some kind of dumpling-esque things, but nothing you'd call serious pasta. And then things get pretty wild. We move over to Asia, and then these are our earliest archaeological records. And then our earliest form of noodle over there is probably the hand-ripped noodle. So they learned to roll out the pasta and then tear it into noodles. Brilliant. And we see our first adaptive radiation of pasta. We've got soba, ramen, wheat noodles, udon, you name it. There's loads over there. But around the same time, pasta actually also migrated from the Middle East out into Europe, where we can start to see early forms of the beautiful wheat-based product, such as spetzl, which we still see today in Europe, gnocchi, and also lasagna, one of the earliest forms of pasta, just rolling it out. Cato the Elder in ancient Greece talked about laganon in his placenta pie, which is a type of early proto-lasagna with cheese and pasta and placenta presumably layers, which doesn't sound too great. But it was like this for many thousands of years. We had sheets, but nothing too much was happening whilst they're going crazy over there in Asia. But then something interesting happened. With the Silk Road, we see a kind of horizontal gene transfer from Asia over into Europe. And then this is when the Italians learn how to cut pasta. This is crazy. We can move away from these sheets. We can start putting in shapes, doing incredible things. And that's when we see our second adaptive radiation of pasta, including, we've got fusilli there, spaghetti, spirali, which you can see here. Amazing stuff. And Italy is the real topological epicenter of pasta, I think you'd all agree. And only in the very recent history did pasta make it over into the New World with Italian immigrants coming over. So we can break this all down into a kind of phylogeny. This is pretty intense. And I'll take you through it. So we have over here our last universal common ancestor of pasta, which is couscous. And then we see the Asian radiation here. We have our hand-ripped noodles, and then we've got kind of ramen and udon coming there. And what they really learned to do over in China and Asia was they really experimented with the materials. That's the main thing there. The topology is more or less the same. We've got these noodling shapes. This is soba, rice and glass noodles. They're just using different kind of grays. So maybe kind of going out of our classic definition of pasta, but who cares? Not me. And we've obviously got our kind of gnocchi coming out over here as well, a very, very early pasta form over here in Italy. Okay, so this is a form they had for ages, and then we've got our horizontal transfer over from Asia, and then this is where we get lasagna, which really started it all. This is where it all kicked off. All the forms of pasta you generally see come from lasagna. But I would like to draw your attention to spaghetti, actually, which is a round shape. So it doesn't come from rolled out pasta traditionally. So it actually is a kind of retention of the juvenile characteristic of not rolling out, a kind of neoteny, I suppose. So that's a secondary characteristic. And then things get interesting. Obviously, lasagna, we've got kind of simple things where we learn to cut it up, so we get our kind of tagliatelle, our linguine. And then things can kind of get a bit more interesting when we have our quadratini here. And now you might not be familiar with this because it's just a square pasta shape. It's not widely eaten anymore. It's pretty boring, to be honest, but it's kind of an early progenitor of some of the more exciting forms of pasta. Obviously, we've got ravioli, a nice filled pasta. This is a key innovation in the pasta world. You can just shove some stuff inside, or on top of a quadratini, and put another one there. Incredible. Although you'll notice we've got farfalle, these should be the other way around. Farfalle, which is like our little bow-shaped pasta, they shared a common ancestor because they got the kind of zigzag edges. And then we've got our fusilliform pasta with our fusillis and other spiral-shaped pastas. And then we've got our hollow pastas, penne and rigatoni, where they learn to just kind of roll over the quadratini. And then we've got a brilliant sauce carrier, which is fantastic. And then you'll notice bucatini over here, which is an interesting case. And just remember, bucatini is kind of like a hollow, long tagliatelle, but it's actually a hybrid, a modern hybrid between penne and tagliatelle. So that's another interesting crossover event. And then another kind of development, another key innovation of the basic shape. We've got the croxetti over here, like our quadratini. You don't really see much of it anymore. And that's because it's just circular pasta. It's just like a medallion shape. And this just allowed a couple more forms. We've got our conchigli, which is like our shell-shaped pasta. Brilliant, beautiful surface area, can really carry a sauce. And this is really the precursor to tortellini, and it's very obvious here. We've got this invagination in the pasta. And then we can put stuff inside of that, and then we've got our tortellini. So, contrary to what you might believe initially, tortellini and ravioli actually didn't share a common ancestor very recently at all. It's an example of convergent pastolution, which is phenomenal. And then really, what I find incredible, we get over to our spaghetti. Some of the more recent descendants of spaghetti, we have our SpaghettiOs. And where it really gets interesting, we've got our alphabetti spaghetti. And this is just kind of showing what, we can still be innovating on pasta in the modern age. We've got letters out of pasta. It's teaching people the alphabet. It's cheap. It's easily accessible. This is social justice, Italian style. Absolutely phenomenal. So that's for phylogeny of pasta. I think you'll all agree it's a rich history. It's got a lot of support. But what is the future of pasta? Well, we live in an age, we've got the mathematics now. We can describe the topology of all of these pastas. And I think one of the most interesting findings of the last century is that the potential morphospace of pasta which is occupied compared to what could be realised is tiny. And we can imagine all these kind of new forms of pasta, perhaps a Mobius pasta. And in fact, this has actually been created now, and it just hasn't taken off yet. I mean, the Mobius strip only discovered in the 19th century, and this is kind of what tends to happen with pasta. You'll get a key geometrical innovation, and then about a couple of centuries later, perhaps when the right dish, the right sauce is invented, then it will really take off. So we've got this non-orientable, topologically advanced pasta for a non-orientable sauce. Fucking amazing. But what else can we do with modern technology? Well, we can do some pretty incredible stuff. We can 3D print pasta now, which is just incredible. Look at this, go. They've 3D printed this pasta. Where's the 3D printing? That's what it looks cool. There we go, look at that go! Fucking likes vases! You can't do that with a rolling pin. This is going to be a completely new kingdom of pasta shapes. That'll blow your mind if you ate that. Like, nothing can carry sauce better than a vase. Conchigli, yeah, whatever. Penny, get out of him, man. It's incredible. And then, like, not just the advancement of pasta shapes. Oh, wrong way. No, still wrong way. Yes, we have the technology as well to kind of improve the mass manufacture. When we think dried pasta, it changed our lives, right? We don't have to make all this fresh pasta. It takes forever. Like you need like an Italian grandmother to do it, really, which I don't have. But now we can do this pasta which starts off flat, and they put these like ridges in it, right? So it's 2D, right? Then you boil it, and then it goes. You can get like fusilli. Look, it's flat, and now, oh, look at that! Jesus Christ! It's amazing, mate. You just print it on. Oh my God! Are you gonna put it in yet? Come on. Look at cutting in shapes. Come on. Oh, look at all the shapes that are possible. It's amazing. Oh my God. And yeah, it's a real topological and culinary sensation. Anyway, this has been my LSB social series talk. Thank you all for enduring. Just enjoy your Fridays. Science! They just cut some shapes of pasta, it's science!
I don't know what to say. I think there are no words for this incredible talk. I think I'm personally attached to the topic, so I can really think clearly, but this has been really a lovely discovery of pasta and all these forms. Now, I guess all of you I've got plenty of questions, but please put forward only the most clever ones. So, if there are any,
sorry, I have a question about the phenomenological tree that you showed before. Can you expand a bit on the figure of the spaghettios versus spaghetti? It's just how much is due to the language expansion of the Italian? How much? What's the shape of a spaghettios versus
A
spaghetti?
spaghettio?
Yeah.
It's an O made out of spaghetti.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. It's just the spaghetti which is gone.
Wow.
Yeah. Spaghetti O.
Wow.
So it is
That's
the first.
oh, that's
And
right.
that's where the alphabetti spaghetti came from. Because then they're like, oh, this is an O shape. Oh, there's so many other letters of the alphabet which we're not capitalizing.
Mind blowing. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
So I assume with all this new technology available, it will be necessary to expand the tree just from the root, because all these new pasta shapes will essentially evolve through the new technology from the base flat pasta shape. So there's no combination from the from all the subtrees anymore, right? Do you think there will be an ethical issue with this?
Undoubtedly, because the pasta rights camp is pretty fierce. But I think many of these shapes carry on as kind of evolutions. And, you know, most of them are kind of coming from flat shapes, but something like a vase shaped, who knows? I don't know. It's really quite subjective where something lands for tree, to be honest. Yeah, I'd say maybe a vase-shaped pasta would fall more in the phylogeny of vases than pastas. Perhaps it's a kind of marriage between the shell-shaped pasta, and a vase. It's a kind of hybridization between two different things. Yeah.
So I guess this is also an opportunity for scientists to develop new methodologies to build phylogenic trees, because we haven't seen that in evolution yet, that out of nowhere something entirely new pops up. We have a flat pasta and suddenly there's a race without any intermediary step. So
yeah,
there's a great opportunity for research there.
Yeah, fucking incredible, man. Yeah, pretty amazing. Yeah, it's a real, mind blur.
Any other questions?
You can follow co-evolution of sources.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, so this is something I wanted to get into, and it's quite interesting, actually. But I think sometimes these kind of key pastas have been kind of waiting around, and then we definitely see, oh shit. Yeah, so I think, you know, with modern lasagna, as we think of it, you know, I think probably when we started with the other kind of pasta shapes, when they discovered your kind of tagliatelle, etc., the lasagna sheets kind of fell out of favour, because who wants to eat placenta pie? But then, you know, we kind of, from France, we get the bechamel, and then with the bringing over, with the tomato sauce coming, we really needed these kind of two things, and then we can get our modern day lasagna, and then we kind of see this pre-adaptation really just explodes the popularity of the pasta. And yeah, I mean, undoubtedly I'd say conchigli as well. I think it needs quite a creamy sauce. I mean, the surface area on that is incredible. Yeah, I think, you know, yeah. And actually, what's most interesting is when we think about the Asian noodles, right? We have something. Oh, what are you doing? Oh no!
It's gone.
Anyway, we have our ramen, right? And I think the ramen is a great example of a pasta shape being designed for a dish, because it is a type of noodle which can just endure an absolute boiling for so long, and then, you know, all the other pasta would just be mush in that period. So I think that was really designed with their broths in mind, because they've probably been boiling chickens for thousands of years, even before pasta. Yeah.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Actually, a bit of a critique to your phylogeny.
Oh yeah.
So you mentioned the Laganon, right? The ancestor of pasta, which was found in Greek and Roman times. So wouldn't that be a case of convergent evolution, where, you know, there is in Greece some evolution of pasta, at the same time where in China there is the same kind of species evolving, species of food evolving?
Yeah, I think that's actually represented. Because we can see here we've kind of got our just kind of ancestral just crumbs of dough with a couscous.
I see, okay.
This is where Asia, they work out the rolling.
Okay,
with our hand-rip noodles, right? Because that's just a sheet which they tear. But also, yeah, this is our kind of which we get over here in ancient Greece, and which Cato the Elder invented, so that's a kind of convergent thing, but then it's for horizontal transfer from the noodle technology, which is when they realised they can actually cut up the sheet.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
The Italians went crazy.
I'm not sure. You know, always said that there was some kind of evolution going on of the pasta, and as in biology with living organisms, not everyone agrees that evolution actually happened.
Yeah.
There's people saying that like it was God who created all animals and stuff.
Yeah, the pasta.
What would you say to someone who comes along and says there was some kind of supernatural force who just created pasta and shaped them as they wanted?
I mean, you just got to look at the evidence. I mean, it is overwhelming. There's a consensus amongst scientists and chefs, which is more than one profession. And we've only got scientists for evolution. It's a consensus that it evolved. So, yeah, if you're not listening to the evidence, there's not much more I can say. There's no help for you. I don't want to cook a lasagna for you. Get out of my sight.
Woo! Oh God.
Thank you, everybody.